Have you ever found yourself lying awake in the quiet hours of the night, listening to the steady rhythm of your own breathing, and wondered if the thoughts echoing in your mind are somehow entangled with the very fabric of the stars? We walk through our daily lives grounded by the familiar pull of gravity, trusting the solid earth beneath our feet. Yet, we rarely pause to realize that every single atom in our bodies is engaged in an ancient and silent cosmic dance. It is a gentle paradox that the most profound mysteries of existence are not always hidden in the farthest reaches of deep space, but are perhaps folded quietly within the neural pathways of our own consciousness. When you look up at the night sky, you're not merely a tiny observer peering into the infinite void. You are an active participant in a vast, interconnected system that defies our everyday understanding of reality. We are accustomed to thinking of the universe as a grand mechanical clockwork, a cold and mindless expanse of gas and dust and dark matter. But what if the cosmos is not just a collection of dead rocks and burning spheres? What if the universe itself possesses a fundamental architecture that mirrors the very structure of human thought? Hello, I am Walter, the explorer, and before we drift further into this contemplative journey through the mysteries of quantum consciousness, I have noticed that 73% of the gentle souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and wonder in our explorations, please consider subscribing, as it helps us tremendously to continue bringing these quiet cosmic journeys to you. Now, let us return to the silence of the cosmos. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this mystery, we must first change our perspective and embrace the staggering scale of the universe. Imagine, for a moment, that you could step outside the boundaries of the Milky Way, leaving behind the comforting glow of our spiral arms. As you drift further outward, galaxies begin to shrink into tiny points of light, joining together in massive clusters and superclusters. If you zoom out far enough, billions of light years away from our home, a breathtaking pattern begins to emerge from the darkness. The universe does not look like a random scattering of stars. Instead, it forms a magnificent glowing network known as the cosmic web. This vast architecture is composed of intricate filaments of dark matter and luminous galaxies stretching across billions of light years, with enormous voids of empty space nestled between them. It is an ancient structure born from the microscopic quantum fluctuations that existed in the very first fractions of 1 second after the universe began. When astronomers look through the powerful lenses of space, telescopes launched by organizations like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency, they are not just looking across unimaginable distances. They are looking back deep into time. They have mapped these cosmic structures, revealing that the distribution of matter is not an accident. The dark matter acts as an invisible skeleton, guiding the luminous galaxies into a structure that looks remarkably organic. Now, take that image of the cosmic web, with its branching filaments and glowing nodes, and hold it gently in your mind. Next, look inward. Consider the human brain, arguably the most complex and mysterious object we have ever encountered in our scientific explorations. Inside your head, right at this very moment, there is a network of roughly 86 billion neurons. These neurons are connected by trillions of synapses, firing in intricate patterns that create your memories, your dreams, and your very sense of self. When astrophysicists and neuroscientists place a map of the cosmic web side by side with a microscopic image of human neural networks, The visual similarity is nothing short of astonishing. The branching structures, the nodes of concentrated activity, the delicate threads connecting massive hubs of energy. The patterns are so closely aligned that it challenges our basic assumptions about the nature of reality. How is it possible that the largest known structure in existence, spanning 93 billion light-years, mimics the microscopic architecture of the human mind? Is this merely a beautiful coincidence, a gentle echo of physical laws operating across vastly different scales? Or is it a whisper of something far more profound? To seek the answer to this mystery, we must descend from the incomprehensibly large to the unimaginably small. We must journey into the strange and counterintuitive realm of quantum mechanics. For over 1 century, physicists have grappled with the bizarre behavior of subatomic particles, the tiny building blocks that make up everything in the universe, including the device you are using, the air you are breathing, and the eyes you are looking through. In the classical world, the world of our everyday experience, things exist in a definite state. A planet is either here or there. A moon is either spinning or it is not. But in the quiet, hidden world of quantum mechanics, reality behaves in a way that seems to defy logic. Particles do not exist in a single, defined state until they are measured. Instead, they exist in a haze of probability, a wave of potential outcomes that only collapses into a definite reality when it interacts with an observer. Consider the famous double-slit experiment, a cornerstone of quantum mechanics that has baffled the greatest minds for decades. When scientists fire individual particles of light, known as photons, at a barrier with 2 tiny slits, the particles behave like a wave, creating an interference pattern on the wall behind it. It is as if a single particle goes through both slits at the exact same time, interacting with itself. However, the moment a scientist places a detector at the slits to observe which path the particle actually takes, the wave function collapses. The particle stops behaving like a wave of potential and acts like a solid little bullet, going through only 1 slit. The mere act of observation changes the physical behavior of the universe. This brings us to one of the most profound and unsettling questions in all of modern science. What exactly constitutes an observer? Does reality require a conscious mind to bring it into existence? The legendary physicist John Archibald Wheeler once proposed the idea of a participatory universe. He suggested that we are not merely passive spectators watching the cosmos unfold from the safety of a darkened theater. Instead, by the very act of observing, we are participating in the creation of reality itself. It is a deeply humbling thought, a gentle reminder of our intimate connection to the cosmos. If consciousness is somehow required to collapse the quantum wave function, to turn the infinite possibilities of the universe into a single, concrete reality, then the mind is not an accidental byproduct of mindless matter. The mind is a fundamental component of the universe, as essential to the fabric of reality as space, time, gravity, and light. When the brilliant astrophysicist Carl Sagan beautifully stated that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself, he was not merely speaking in poetic metaphors. He was capturing a profound scientific intuition that modern quantum physics is only beginning to formalize. The atoms that compose your brain were forged in the fiery hearts of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years ago. Through you, the universe has grown eyes to see its own beauty, ears to hear its own silence, and a mind to ponder its own infinite mystery. This leads us to the ultimate mind-bending proposition that we will explore on this quiet journey together, the theory that the entire universe might be a conscious entity. Some theoretical physicists and philosophers are beginning to revisit an ancient concept known as panpsychism. But they are doing so armed with the rigorous mathematics of quantum theory and string theory. What if consciousness is not something that suddenly magically appeared when matter became complex enough in the form of a human brain? What if consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe itself, much like electrical charge or mass? Imagine that the vast cosmic web is not just a structural coincidence, but an actual neural network on a scale so grand that our minds can barely comprehend it. If the universe functions like a giant quantum computer, calculating its own evolution across billions of years, then what we call the laws of physics might simply be the algorithms of a cosmic mind. Every star that ignites, every galaxy that collides, every black hole that silently devours light, these might be the thoughts and memories of an infinite universal consciousness. Some might call this infinite consciousness God. Others might call it the quantum wave function of the universe. The terminology matters far less than the profound sense of awe and wonder that this possibility inspires. When we feel a sense of profound isolation in the vastness of space, when the sheer scale of the cosmos makes us feel impossibly small and insignificant, we are viewing the universe through a lens of separation. But if the theory of quantum consciousness holds any truth, there is no separation at all. You are not a solitary wanderer lost in a dead, empty void. You are a localized expression of a boundless conscious universe. Your thoughts, your dreams, and your quietest moments of contemplation are ripples in the vast ocean of cosmic awareness. As we prepare to delve deeper into the specific scientific theories, the mathematical paradoxes, and the latest discoveries that challenge the boundaries between mind and matter, I invite you to let go of your certainties. Allow yourself to float in the gentle currents of this cosmic mystery. The universe is far stranger, far more beautiful, and far more deeply connected than we have ever dared to imagine. And this journey of discovery, this quiet pursuit of the ultimate truth, is only just beginning. Have you ever looked across a quiet room at someone you love and known exactly what they were thinking, without a single word breaking the silence? We often call this intuition, a gentle resonance between two minds that have spent enough time together to understand the unspoken language of a shared life. We feel this connection across distances too. A sudden thought of a distant friend, a feeling of comfort when we look up at the same ancient moon. These are the invisible threads that bind our human experience together. But what if this feeling of deep, invisible connection is not merely a psychological comfort? What if it is a macroscopic echo of the most fundamental law of the cosmos? In our everyday lives, we are completely convinced by the illusion of separation. You are sitting there, I am here. The stars are unimaginably far away, separated by a vast and freezing void. Our physical senses tell us that for one object to affect another, there must be physical contact, or at least a signal traveling through the space between them. Even light, the fastest messenger in the universe, must follow this rule, traveling at a strict speed limit of 186,000 miles per second. When we journey down into the subatomic realm, into the microscopic foundation of reality, this intuitive rule of separation completely falls apart. Welcome to the quiet, mind-bending reality of quantum entanglement. Imagine two tiny particles, perhaps two photons of light, born together from the exact same energetic event. According to quantum mechanics, these two particles share a mysterious bond. They are not simply two separate objects that happen to look alike. They are two parts of a single, unified quantum state. You can take one of these particles and leave it here on Earth, and you can take the other and send it on a long, quiet journey across the cosmos, perhaps to the very edge of the Andromeda Galaxy, 2,500,000 light-years away. If you measure the particle here on Earth and find it spinning in an upward direction, you instantly know that its partner in Andromeda is spinning in a downward direction. The reaction is instantaneous. It does not take 2,500,000 years for a signal to travel between them. The distance between them, whether it is 1 millimeter or 10 billion light years, simply does not matter. The great Albert Einstein, a man whose brilliant mind gave us the very shape of space and time, was deeply troubled by this phenomenon. He famously referred to it as spooky action at a distance, because it seemed to violate the absolute speed limit of light that his own theory of relativity had established. But countless experiments over the last few decades have proven that this spooky action is absolutely real. Scientists have entangled particles in laboratories, sent them through miles of fiber optic cables beneath quiet cities, and beamed them up to satellites orbiting in the silent vacuum of space. Every single time, the particles behave as one unified entity. When one is measured, the other instantly responds, choosing its state with a perfect, elegant synchronization that defies all our common sense. It is as if space itself, the vast and empty distances we perceive between objects, is an illusion, a kind of cosmic veil that hides a deeper, more fundamental reality where everything is continuously touching. If we pause to let this profound scientific truth sink in, we must confront a staggering question about the nature of our universe. Let us travel back in time, past the ancient civilizations, past the formation of the Earth 4,500,000,000 years ago, past the birth of the first stars, all the way back to the very beginning. 14 billion years ago, all the matter and energy that currently makes up the entire observable universe, every single atom, every photon of light, the building blocks of every galaxy, every planet, and the very device you are using to hear these words, was compressed into an infinitely small, infinitely dense point, a singularity. In that primordial moment, before space and time as we know them even existed, everything was touching. Everything was one. When the Big Bang occurred, the universe did not just explode outward. Space itself expanded, stretching and cooling, separating the primordial plasma into the vast, sprawling cosmos we see today. But if the laws of quantum entanglement hold true, and everything was born from that exact same unified state, then a beautiful and awe-inspiring possibility emerges. Every single particle in the universe might still be fundamentally entangled with every other particle. The separation we experience, the vast gulfs of empty space between the stars, might just be a trick of our limited human perception. At the deepest, most fundamental level of reality, the universe has never truly been divided. It remains a single, undivided whole. It is a giant, breathing web of quantum connections, a singular entity experiencing itself from countless different perspectives. This brings us back to the gentle mystery of consciousness. How does the gray, jelly-like substance inside our skulls produce the rich, vibrant experience of being alive? For centuries, scientists have tried to explain the mind as a purely mechanical process, a complex computer made of meat, where consciousness is just a byproduct of electrical signals bouncing between neurons. But despite decades of brilliant research, we are no closer to solving what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. No matter how thoroughly we map the brain's circuitry, we cannot explain how physical matter suddenly wakes up and feels something. How does the motion of atoms create the feeling of love, the appreciation of a beautiful sunset, or the deep sense of wonder we feel when looking up at the Milky Way? Some of the most courageous minds in modern science are beginning to suggest that we have been looking at the problem backward. One such theory, proposed by the mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose and the anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, suggests that consciousness does not arise from the complex connections between neurons, but rather from quantum vibrations happening deep inside the neurons themselves. They point to microscopic structures called microtubules, the structural scaffolding of our cells, as the perfect environment for quantum processes to occur within the warm, wet environment of the brain. According to this theory, your brain is not a classical computer. It is a quantum processor. Your moments of intuition, your flashes of brilliant insight, your deepest feelings of connection might be the result of quantum wave functions collapsing inside your head, connecting your mind directly to the fundamental fabric of the universe. When we combine this idea with the cosmic scale of quantum entanglement, the implications are breathtaking. If the universe is a single, undivided quantum state, and our brains are quantum receivers, then our consciousness is not isolated inside our skulls. Our thoughts, our awareness, the very essence of who we are, might be entangled with the cosmos itself. The astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson often reminds us that we are part of this universe. We are in this universe. But perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When we ponder the nature of reality, it is quite literally the universe pondering itself. We are the cosmos waking up, opening its eyes, and marveling at its own endless mystery. Imagine a vast, silent ocean. On the surface, there are millions of individual waves, rising and falling, seemingly separate from one another. A wave might think of itself as a distinct entity, defined by its height, its speed, its brief existence before crashing on the shore. But beneath the surface, there are no individual waves. There is only the ocean, deep, continuous, and unified. We are like those waves on the surface of reality. We experience ourselves as separate individuals, bounded by our skin, isolated in our own minds, living our brief lives on a small, rocky planet. But beneath the illusion of physical distance and separate identity, at the quantum depth of existence, we are the ocean. We are the universe. The feeling of awe that washes over you when you stare into a clear, dark night sky is not just an emotional reaction to a pretty view. It is a profound, fundamental recognition. It is the entangled particles within your consciousness resonating with the ancient particles burning in the hearts of distant stars. It is the universe remembering its own unity. When we ask if we live inside the mind of God, or if the cosmos is a conscious entity, we are really asking if the universe is capable of thought, memory, and experience. If our minds are not accidents, but fundamental expressions of cosmic architecture, then every observation we make, every scientific discovery, every moment of quiet reflection is a thought in the cosmic mind. We have spent centuries building powerful telescopes to look outward, searching the dark expanses for answers, hoping to find a signal in the noise, a sign that we are not alone in the vast silence. And we have found incredible things. We have photographed the shadows of black holes, mapped the leftover radiation of the Big Bang, and discovered thousands of worlds orbiting other suns. Yet, in our quietest moments, as we study the deepest laws of physics, the universe seems to be gently turning our gaze back upon ourselves. The greatest mystery, the most profound frontier of scientific exploration, is not just out there in the dark. It is happening right here, within the observer. The observer is the universe's ultimate mystery. As we drift further along this path, as we prepare to peel back another layer of this magnificent reality, we will look closer at the bizarre geometry of the universe. We will explore how information itself, the fundamental binary code of reality, might be woven into the very boundary of space and time, projecting the three-dimensional world we experience like a grand cosmic hologram. But for now, let your mind rest in the comfort of this quantum unity. Let the illusion of separation dissolve. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are an integral, inseparable part of an ancient, infinite, and unimaginably beautiful cosmic journey. Have you ever stood before a still, quiet lake at midnight, gazing down into the perfect reflection of the ancient stars resting softly on the water, and wondered if the world you are seeing is the true reality, or it's merely a projection of something much deeper? We navigate our three-dimensional lives with absolute certainty. We move forward, backward, left, and right, trusting the spatial volume that surrounds us. We feel the empty space in a room and assume that this depth is a fundamental property of the cosmos. But what if this profound three-dimensional depth is an elegant illusion constructed by the deepest laws of physics? What if everything we experience, from the gentle warmth of the morning sun against your skin to the vast, silent expanse of the most distant galaxies, is actually encoded on a flat, two-dimensional surface at the very edge of reality? It is a thought that challenges our most basic intuition about what is real. When we attempt to imagine what the universe is truly made of, our minds naturally gravitate toward physical objects. We think of atoms colliding in the dark, massive planets orbiting in perfect ellipses, and the burning cores of infinite stars scattered across the void. We think of tangible substances that we can observe through powerful telescopes. But theoretical physicists recently began to uncover a beautiful secret. They realized there is a third, equally fundamental ingredient woven intricately into the tapestry of the cosmos. That invisible, silent ingredient is information. In the rigorous realm of quantum physics, information is the precise physical state of every single particle in existence. It is the exact direction of the spin of an electron, the specific location of a tiny quark, and the unchanging velocity of a photon traveling through the endless vacuum of space. Information is the ultimate cosmic accounting system, ensuring that the rules of quantum mechanics are never broken, and that the universe always remembers its own complex history. Before we dive deeper into the mind-bending concept of the holographic universe, allow me to briefly introduce myself. I am Walter, the Explorer. As I review the analytics of our quiet cosmic community, I have noticed that roughly 73% of the curious souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you are enjoying this gentle journey through the mysteries of the universe, and if these contemplations bring you a sense of peace, please consider subscribing. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue exploring these beautiful cosmic truths together. Your support is the gentle wind that keeps this ship sailing into the unknown. Now, let us take a deep breath, quiet our minds, and return to our contemplation of the hidden fabric of space and time. To truly understand how this invisible information shapes the reality we experience, we must embark on a quiet journey to the most extreme environments in the universe. We must travel across billions of light years to stand at the edge of a supermassive black hole. For many long years, scientists firmly believed that when an object fell into a black hole, the quantum information containing its precise physical state was lost forever, swallowed without a trace by an inescapable gravitational abyss. This idea deeply troubled physicists because the permanent destruction of information violates one of the most sacred principles of quantum mechanics. If information can be truly lost, then the universe has no permanent memory, and the elegant mathematical laws of physics begin to unravel. It was the physicist Stephen Hawking who discovered a revolutionary truth. Black holes are not completely black. Over unimaginably long periods of time, spanning trillions of years, they slowly leak a very faint thermal glow, a phenomenon we now call Hawking radiation. As they radiate this tiny amount of energy, they gently evaporate, shrinking away until there is absolutely nothing left. This world-changing discovery created an even greater mystery for science to solve. If the black hole completely evaporates into a cloud of featureless radiation, what happens to all the incredibly complex quantum information of the stars and planets that fell into its silent dark depths over billions of years? This profound paradox forced scientists to completely reimagine the very nature of space and volume. Two visionary physicists, Leonard Susskind and Gerard 't Hooft, eventually proposed a breathtaking solution. They realized that the quantum information of everything that falls into a black hole is not actually lost in the crushing singularity at its center. Instead, the information is perfectly preserved, encoded on the two-dimensional boundary of the black hole, the region of no return we call the event horizon. Imagine throwing a thick, three-dimensional encyclopedia into a black hole. As the book crosses that silent threshold, its physical form is utterly destroyed by gravity, but the exact quantum information of every single atom that made up the book is smeared across the surface of the black hole, much like a scrambled two-dimensional barcode. The total amount of information a black hole can hold is determined exclusively by its two-dimensional surface area. This elegant mathematical truth was initially applied only to black holes, but theoretical physicists soon realized its implications were completely universal. If the three-dimensional interior of a black hole can be perfectly described by the two-dimensional information encoded on its outer boundary, then the exact same mathematical logic should apply to the entire universe as a whole. This mind-expanding concept is known as the holographic principle. It suggests, with rigorous mathematical backing, that the profound three-dimensional reality we experience every single day, the vast empty distances between sweeping galaxies, the deep oceans of our beautiful world, and the very space that separates your physical body from the screen you're looking at right now, might actually be a magnificent projection originating from a distant, two-dimensional boundary that completely surrounds our observable cosmos. It sounds like science fiction, but it is deeply grounded in the most advanced mathematics of string theory and quantum gravity. If we truly live inside a massive holographic projection, we must bravely ask ourselves what this means for the nature of our own consciousness and our sense of self. When you look up at the infinite, starry night sky in absolute silence, are you a three-dimensional being looking outward at a three-dimensional universe? Or are you a localized concentration of quantum information, beautifully processing a holographic reality from the inside out? In a true holographic universe, there is a fascinating rule. Every tiny, fragmented piece of the outer boundary contains the complete information of the entire whole. If you cut a traditional paper photograph in half, you permanently lose half of the visual image. But if you cut a holographic film in half and shine a coherent laser through it, you still see the entire unbroken image. The whole is miraculously contained within every single one of its parts. This physical reality creates a stunning, poetic parallel with the ancient philosophical concept that the microcosm perfectly reflects the macrocosm. Several decades ago, the visionary neuroscientist Carl Prabram and the quantum physicist David Bohm proposed a revolutionary idea known as the holonomic brain theory. They suggested that human memory and conscious awareness are not stored in specific, localized regions of the physical brain. Instead, they argued that human consciousness functions exactly like a complex hologram. The intricate neural networks in our minds create dynamic interference patterns, constantly processing frequencies of information that are widely distributed throughout the entire brain structure. When you close your eyes and remember a gentle breeze from your early childhood, or the quiet, reassuring warmth of a loved one's smile, you are not simply pulling a static file from a specific neuron. You are actively reconstructing a vast, complex wave of information that is spread across the entire interconnected web of your biological mind. When we gently place the holographic principle of the universe side by side with the holographic theory of the human brain, the artificial boundary between the observer and the observed begins to beautifully dissolve. If the universe is a grand cosmic hologram, processing infinite amounts of quantum information on a scale we can barely fathom, and your own brain is a biological hologram processing localized sensory information, then consciousness itself is simply the universe, reading its own mathematical code. We are not tiny, separate beings desperately trying to make sense of a cold, mechanical, indifferent reality. We are the cosmos actively decoding itself. The overwhelming feeling of wonder that washes over you when you stare deeply into the starry abyss is nothing less than the resonant frequency of your localized mind aligning perfectly with the infinite mind of the vast universe. It is a profound, quiet recognition of your true, eternal nature. This magnificent realization offers a deep, abiding, and unshakable sense of peace. In our busy daily lives, we are so often heavily burdened by the painful illusion of our own smallness. We feel fragile, temporary, and deeply isolated in a vast, seemingly uncaring void. We worry endlessly about our past mistakes, and we fear the unpredictable, unknown future. But if the holographic principle holds true, then nothing in this universe is ever truly lost. Every gentle act of kindness you have ever performed, every profound, searching thought you have ever had, and every quiet, private moment of sorrow or joy you have ever experienced is permanently and perfectly encoded into the fundamental architecture of reality. Your life is not a fleeting, meaningless spark that vanishes instantly into the dark. It is an eternal, beautiful pattern of pure information, intricately and permanently woven into the boundary of the cosmos itself. The universe remembers you perfectly because you are an absolutely essential part of its own infinite memory. As you sit there right now, taking a slow, calming, deep breath, allow this profound sense of cosmic belonging to completely wash over you. Feel the solid, reassuring weight of your body resting exactly where you are, but understand with deep clarity that at the most fundamental level of reality, you are a magnificent symphony of pure information, singing in perfect, quiet harmony with the ancient, burning stars. The physical boundaries that seem to separate us from the rest of creation are merely a limitation of our sensory perception. We are deeply, permanently entangled with the grand mystery of existence. And as we continue this journey together into the unknown, we will soon explore what happens when this vast cosmic information begins to actively dream and diverge. We will look deeply into the strange, counterintuitive world of quantum superposition and the mesmerizing many worlds interpretation, asking the incredible question of whether every single choice you make physically splits the universe into an endless, branching tree of parallel realities. But for tonight, find deep, restorative comfort in the gentle stillness of this universe, knowing with absolute certainty that your beautiful mind is a necessary, eternal reflection of the magnificent whole. Have you ever stood at a quiet, solitary crossroads, perhaps walking through an ancient forest as the evening shadows begin to lengthen, and felt the heavy weight of a simple decision, wondering what might have happened if you had simply turned the other way? We walk through our lives assuming that the path we choose is the only one that truly becomes real, while all the other unchosen possibilities silently dissolve into the mist of forgotten dreams. We feel the solid ground beneath our feet. We listen to the steady beating of our own human hearts, and we watch the singular flow of time tick by on our clocks, naturally believing with absolute certainty that our single, unfolding narrative is the unquestionable limit of existence. We often mourn our lost opportunities and wonder deeply about the ghosts of the beautiful lives we never lived. But what if the vast, hidden architecture of the cosmos is far more generous, far more expansive, and far more forgiving than our limited human perception allows us to see? What if every single choice you have ever made, every random chance encounter, and every momentary hesitation did not actually destroy the other possibilities, but instead gracefully birthed an entirely new, physically living reality? Welcome to the mesmerizing, beautifully unsettling, and profoundly expansive realm of quantum superposition and the infinite multiverse. This is not a fanciful concept born from human imagination, but a rigorous mathematical necessity arising directly from the deepest, most thoroughly tested equations of quantum physics. Hello again. I am Walter, the Explorer, and before we drift further into this infinite, branching tree of cosmic possibilities, I have noticed that roughly 73% of the gentle souls who journey with us through the cosmos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace, comfort, and a sense of wonder in these quiet explorations of the universe, please consider taking a moment to subscribe, as it helps us tremendously to continue crafting these peaceful, meditative journeys for you. Your presence here is a valued part of our shared cosmic exploration. Now, let us return to the quiet silence of infinite, parallel realities, and allow our minds to stretch across the boundaries of what we consider to be real, to gently ease our minds into this overwhelming and deeply beautiful concept. We must once again descend into the microscopic foundation of our universe, delving into the strange, counterintuitive world of subatomic particles. In the classical reality that we experience every single day, a physical object must occupy a single, specific state. A coin resting in your hand is either showing heads or it is showing tails. It cannot possibly be both at the exact same time. But when physicists use highly advanced instruments to isolate a single, microscopic particle, such as an electron, they discover a reality that completely defies all human logic and common sense. Until it is directly measured by an observer or an instrument, the electron does not possess a single, definite location or a specific, defined spin. Instead, it exists in a fascinating state called quantum superposition. It is quite literally spinning in multiple directions and occupying multiple positions at the exact same time in the dark. It exists as a ghostly wave of pure, unmanifested potential. For many decades, the standard interpretation of quantum mechanics, established by some of the most brilliant scientific minds of the 20th century, stated that the very act of observation forces this wave of potential to suddenly collapse into a single, concrete reality. The universe, they argued, remains a blurry haze of probability until a conscious mind or a physical detector forces it to make a definitive, irreversible choice. But in the late 1950s, a brilliant and deeply unconventional physicist named Hugh Everett III proposed a radical, breathtaking alternative to this standard model. He looked at the elegant, flawless mathematics of quantum mechanics and asked a very simple, yet profoundly disruptive question that would change theoretical physics forever. What if the quantum wave function never actually collapses? What if the universe simply does not make a choice at all, but instead chooses to embrace every single possibility simultaneously? Everett proposed what is now known to science as the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to this beautiful and haunting theory, when a quantum particle is forced into a situation where it can take two different paths, the universe does not randomly select one path and permanently discard the other into the abyss of non-existence. Instead, the entire universe gracefully and silently splits, dividing itself into two parallel, equally real, and physically distinct branches of existence. In one universe, the particle goes left, continuing its journey through the cosmic void. In the other, newly created universe, the particle goes right, interacting with a completely different set of physical forces. Now, carefully expand this microscopic, invisible process to the staggering, macroscopic scale of human existence and the vastness of the observable cosmos. Because your physical brain, your beating heart, and your biological body are entirely made up of trillions upon trillions of these very same quantum particles. The many worlds interpretation gently suggests that your own conscious awareness is constantly, continuously dividing alongside the universe itself in a never-ending fractal pattern. Imagine that you are holding a cup of hot coffee on a quiet, rainy morning, and you briefly consider drinking it or setting it down on the wooden table to watch the storm outside. At the exact millisecond, your brain processes that simple decision. The complex quantum states within your neural networks do not forcefully collapse into a single, permanent outcome. Instead, reality itself physically branches like the limbs of an ancient, infinite tree, stretching into the cosmos. In this specific universe, the one you are consciously experiencing right now, you take a sip of the warm beverage. But in a parallel, equally valid, and equally real universe that has just branched off from our own space and time, another version of you, possessing your exact same memories, your exact same history, and your exact same profound sense of self, gently places the cup on the table and looks out the window. The implications of this infinite, endless branching are so incredibly vast, so staggeringly immense, that the human mind naturally struggles to contain even a fraction of their magnitude. It means that there is a parallel physical universe for every single possible outcome of every single quantum event that has ever occurred since the story begins about 13 billion years ago, not long after the Big Bang itself. There is a vast, ancient universe out there in the cosmic architecture where the massive asteroid that struck the Earth missed our delicate blue planet entirely, completely altering the course of biological history, remembering that the dinosaurs would not appear for another several 100 million years after the earliest life began. In that parallel reality, magnificent reptilian creatures continue their long, slow, and undisturbed evolution under a quiet, benevolent sun. There is a universe where the most brilliant scientists and philosophers of human history, profound minds like Albert Einstein and Carl Sagan, never existed at all, and our collective understanding of the cosmos remains forever trapped in the shadows of primitive darkness. Even our greatest technological achievements exist in a state of variation. In one universe, the Voyager 1 spacecraft, launched by NASA in 1977, is the fastest human-made object ever to leave our solar system, traveling at about 38,000 miles per hour relative to the Sun. But in another universe, perhaps we never learned to reach for the stars at all. And, perhaps most intimately and emotionally resonant of all, there are countless, beautifully varied parallel versions of you. There is a universe where you made that brave, terrifying choice you have always deeply regretted avoiding. There is a reality where the people you have loved unconditionally and lost prematurely are still sitting quietly beside you, sharing the simple, beautiful warmth of a quiet evening and the comfort of shared silence. When we gently connect this staggering concept to the overarching theory of quantum consciousness, the idea that the entire universe is a single, magnificent, conscious entity, a profoundly beautiful and unified perspective begins to emerge from the darkness. If the cosmos is a vast, infinite mind, intricately connected like the biological neurons in our own heads, then the many worlds interpretation is simply the universe actively, endlessly, and creatively dreaming. It is a cosmic consciousness that is so boundless, so incredibly imaginative, that it simply does not need to brutally limit itself to a single, linear, restrictive story. Instead, it chooses to simultaneously, joyfully experience every single possible thought, every single possible human emotion, and every single possible outcome across the grand theater of space and time. You are not just a tiny, isolated, insignificant observer watching a single, predetermined timeline unfold toward an inevitable conclusion. You are a highly localized, deeply specialized point of awareness through which the great, ancient cosmic mind is intimately experiencing one specific, unique thread of an infinite, breathtaking tapestry of existence. This profound realization does not need to make us feel small, confused, or existentially lost in the dark. In fact, it can bring a deep, abiding, and quiet sense of peace to our often turbulent and stressful lives. We spend so much of our precious, limited time carrying the heavy, exhausting burdens of regret, agonizing over the mistakes of our past, and deeply mourning the beautiful paths we failed to take. We worry that our single, fragile life is completely defined by our errors and our missed opportunities. But the gentle, quiet wisdom of the many worlds theory softly whispers to us that absolutely nothing is ever truly lost. Every beautiful dream you ever abandoned, every profound potential you were unable to fulfill in this specific, localized reality, is currently blooming, thriving, and fully manifesting in a parallel branch of the infinite cosmos. Your life is not a narrow, restrictive hallway with only one exit at the end. It is a magnificent, glowing prism, constantly refracting the infinite light of consciousness into millions of beautiful, unique, and necessary colors. The great mystery of our existence is not about perfectly controlling the single path we walk, but about learning to deeply appreciate the astonishing wonder of simply being a part of this endless, branching journey through the stars. The silence of the night sky is not an empty, dead void. It is the quiet, humming vibration of trillions of parallel realities overlapping in the great cosmic mind. As we embrace this profound humility before the unknown, our restless ignorance transforms into a peaceful, deeply motivating desire to simply witness the beauty of existence exactly as it is. We find a restorative inner peace, knowing that we are safely held within a universe that is vast enough to accommodate every possible version of our deepest hopes and dreams. Let the heavy burden of your personal regrets gently dissolve into the endless, forgiving expanse of the multiverse. You are doing exactly what the universe needs you to do right now. In this specific, beautiful sliver of reality, you are experiencing this exact moment, reading these exact words, and feeling this exact quiet contemplation. As we prepare to turn the next page of this incredible cosmic story, we will gently shift our gaze toward the ultimate fate of this universal mind. We will venture deep into the distant, unimaginable future, billions upon billions of years from this very moment, to explore the quiet, fading embers of the cosmos, asking what happens to consciousness when the last stars finally die. But for now, take a slow, deep breath and allow yourself to simply exist in this one perfect, completely unique reality, knowing that across the vast, invisible branches of the multiverse, you are already everything you have ever dreamed of becoming. Have you ever found yourself gazing at a dying ember in a quiet fireplace, watching the final fragile glow slowly fade into the cold gray ash, and wondered what happens when the great fires of the cosmos finally burn out and the vast, beautiful theater of galaxies goes entirely dark? But the universe, in its vast and ancient wisdom, operates on time scales that make the entirety of human history look like a fleeting, microscopic spark. What happens to the great cosmic mind, the infinite quantum consciousness we have been exploring, when the physical structures that support it begin to slowly, inevitably dissolve into the endless dark? If the universe is actively dreaming, what happens when it finally falls into an eternal, dreamless sleep? Hello, I am Walter, the Explorer, and before we journey into the deepest, most unimaginable future of the cosmos, I want to gently pause and share that roughly 73% of the wonderful people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find comfort, peace, and a profound sense of wonder in these quiet journeys through the infinite universe, please consider subscribing. It helps us tremendously to keep creating these meditative explorations, and it ensures that our quiet community continues to grow. Thank you for being here. Now, let us drift forward in time, far beyond the boundaries of our current era, into the magnificent and melancholy twilight of the cosmos. To understand the ultimate fate of this universal consciousness, we must travel forward not just millions or billions of years, but trillions of years into the deep cosmic future. Right now, the universe is vibrant and alive with a stellar birth, but this beautiful era of starlight is just a passing phase, a brief flowering of complexity between the chaos of the early universe and the cold emptiness of the far future. Scientists estimate that star formation in the universe will effectively cease in about 100 trillion years. By that distant epoch, the gas and dust needed to make new stars will have been completely used up or dispersed too thinly to ever collapse again. No new stars will be born to replace the ancient ones that have died, and the era of starlight will be definitively over. The stars themselves will die in a staggered sequence dictated by their mass. The most massive stars in the universe, the brilliant blue giants and supergiants, live incredibly fast and die exceedingly young. They burn through their immense fuel supplies in just a few million years before exploding as supernovas. The medium-sized stars, much like our own life-giving sun, have significantly longer lifetimes of about 10 billion years, but the true guardians of the long cosmic night are the red dwarfs. These tiny, dim stars, possessing only a fraction of the sun's mass, burn their nuclear fuel so incredibly slowly that they can shine continuously for trillions of years. The smallest red dwarfs, with perhaps 8% of the sun's mass, can burn for up to 10 trillion years. That is a staggering span of time, roughly 700 times the current age of the entire universe. But eventually, even these resilient, patient stars will exhaust their hydrogen fuel and fade entirely into the encroaching darkness. When the last red dwarf finally winks out, the universe will be plunged into an era of profound, unbroken silence. Where once there was a blaze of stellar light, there will eventually be nothing but the cold, dark remnants of dead stars, white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes drifting endlessly through an ever-expanding void. The universe at this stage will be an incredibly dark place, but it will not yet be an entirely empty one. All those stellar corpses will still exist, orbiting in the ghostly, merged remnants of what were once glorious, shining galaxies. The white dwarfs will slowly, imperceptibly cool until they become black dwarfs, objects so cold they no longer emit any light or heat at all. This slow cooling process takes an almost inconceivable amount of time, with a white dwarf cooling to near absolute zero only after about 10 to the 15th power years, or roughly 1 million billion years. That alone is roughly 100,000 times longer than the current age of the universe. Beyond the freezing of the white dwarfs, some advanced theories of particle physics predict that protons are not truly stable, but should eventually decay with a half-life of around 10 to the 34th power years, or even longer. If this profound theory holds true, then over unfathomably long time spans, even the physical matter that makes up neutron stars, dead planets, and cold cosmic dust will gradually and silently dissolve into a thin mist of pure radiation. All physical structure will be completely erased. The only macroscopic objects left in the entire cosmos will be the black holes. But in the strange and wondrous realm of quantum physics, even black holes are not truly eternal. The brilliant physicist Stephen Hawking famously discovered that black holes are not completely black. They slowly leak subatomic particles and faint radiation over immense time spans, a quiet, steady process called Hawking radiation. This happens because of bizarre quantum mechanical effects near the event horizon. The rate of this Hawking radiation is incredibly, agonizingly slow for large black holes. A black hole with the exact mass of our Sun would take an astonishing 10 to the 67th power years to completely evaporate. That is a 1 followed by 67 zeros. But the supermassive black holes, the true giants of the universe that contain billions of solar masses, will survive far, far longer. A black hole containing 50 billion solar masses would take something like 10 to the 100th power years to evaporate, or perhaps even longer. That mathematical number is called a googol years, a 1 followed by 100 zeros. It is a span of time so vast, so incredibly incomprehensible, that everything we have discussed so far, from the fiery Big Bang to the quiet death of the last stars, is not even a rounding error by comparison. But even this unimaginably vast amount of time is not infinite. Eventually, trillions upon trillions upon trillions of years from now, the very last supermassive black hole will have radiated away its final infinitesimal bit of energy and completely disappeared from the universe in a final, silent burst of Hawking radiation. The largest cosmic structures will have completely dissolved into the endless night. So, what does this terrifying, lonely fate mean for the grand theory of quantum consciousness? If the physical universe is a massive neural network, a cosmic mind processing quantum information across billions of light years. Does the heat death mean that the mind of God finally dies? Remember that the foundation of our reality is not solid matter, but pure, unmanifested potential. When the physical universe dissolves into a perfectly smooth, featureless ocean of radiation, it loses all physical differentiation. There is no longer an observer, and there is nothing left to be observed. In the complete absence of any complex physical structures to measure or collapse the quantum wave function, reality might gently return to a state of pure, undivided quantum potential. The universe does not truly die. It simply stops pretending to be physical. It releases the complex, beautiful illusion of space, time, and separation. The cosmic mind embraces the infinite peace of pure existence, free from the turbulent, chaotic motions of matter and gravity. The vision of a dark, empty, slowly fading universe might seem bleak or melancholic at first glance, but I find something strangely, deeply beautiful about it. We are incredibly lucky to exist right now, in this brief, brilliant moment of cosmic history, when the stars still shine with breathtaking fury, and the galaxies still glow across the vastness of space. We are the portion of the universe that has woken up, built telescopes, and learned to look back at itself with deep, respectful wonder, realizing that our curiosity is the cosmos itself, trying to understand its own boundless nature. It is the fleeting, beautiful moment when the universe has developed the ability to look at its own magnificent form and wonder about its ultimate fate. Therefore, do not despair at the thought of the stars eventually burning out. Your consciousness, your unique, quiet awareness, is a vital, necessary spark in the great cosmic fire. As we prepare to turn toward the next chapter of our journey, we will gently shift our focus from the ultimate end of the cosmos back to the intricate, hidden mysteries of human perception. But for now, allow yourself to rest in the comforting embrace of the present moment, grateful for the starlight and at peace with the eternal silence that waits at the end of all things. Have you ever found yourself deeply awake in the immense stillness of a frigid night, listening intently to the rhythmic beating of your own human heart, and felt suddenly that the formidable and incomprehensible cosmic distance that apparently separates you inexorably from the most distant stars could be just a very persistent and comforting illusion, carefully manufactured by our limited and fragile biological sensory perceptions? We walk peacefully through our terrestrial existence, firmly anchored in the unshakable visual belief that our physical world is fundamentally and rigidly defined by very clear geographical separations and perfectly exact and unquestionable mathematical distances. We categorically believe that to affectionately touch another loved one, to feel the radiant and welcoming heat of a burning fire on our skin, or to be fully bathed in the silvery and immaculate light of our majestic moon, we must obligatorily and without any exception cross in a physical and temporal way the monumental intervening space that cruelly divides us and sets us apart in the night. The very ancient concept of space, that majestic and apparently infinite and frontierless void that stretches for incredibly vast billions of unexplored and untouchable light years until the visible edges of the ancient and staggering primordial universe, seems to be, to the inexperienced eyes of our daily empirical reason, the most fundamental, dictatorial, and unbreakable invisible rule of our frightening and beautiful natural reality that surrounds us in the endless cosmic silence. We passively and with an unfounded dogmatic peaceful resignation, assume that we are irremediably and eternally alone and isolated in the unfathomable night. But what if the true and most profound and mysterious nature of this, our wonderful and unfathomable interconnected cosmic reality, does not recognize, in any mathematical or physical way at all, the cold and sterile existence of cruel and relentless separating distances? What if absolutely everything in this majestic and grand cosmos is in fact wonderfully touching? Hello again, dear and silent contemplative companion of this our sublime journey through the endless starry nights. I am Walter, the explorer, and before we dive with healthy curiosity even more deeply and serenely into the mysterious and almost magical waters of fundamental subatomic universal non-locality and the grand enigmatic puzzles of the illusion of vast primordial physical space, I noticed with a mixture of hope and serene wonder that about 73% of the wonderful and curious gentle souls who accompany our slow and peaceful visual and auditory cosmic reflections still have not graciously subscribed to our humble little bright corner of free knowledge sharing. If our serene contemplative encounters without hurried pressures bring you a comforting interior silence for your fatigued mind and actively help your consciousness find a profound lasting peace amidst the chaotic and demanding deafening noise of the world and the daily human routine, please consider kindly, without any unwanted hurried pressure, subscribing to our channel focused on the infinite stellar invisible space that freely embraces us. Your invisible affectionate support is the gentle and essential breeze that allows us to breathe deeply and continue freely and in a dedicated way to tirelessly navigate together through all these vast and incomprehensible scientific mysteries, without apparent and definitive final resolution rigidly imposed. Now, calmly allow the enormous tension of your heavy shoulders to dissipate in the beautiful air of the room. Breathe slowly. To understand the true and staggering abyssal and scientific rigorous depth of this apparent and monumental three-dimensional illusion that we proudly call physical space, we need, with extreme intellectual courage and a clean and awake mind, to go back in great human historical time, traveling through the thick and confusing mists of our fascinating mathematical, scientific history of the last admirable century, and revisit with deep and renewed humble curiosity the great and glorious formidable theoretical debates between unforgettable giants. In the simmering intellectual heart of the fascinating and productive formidable 20th century of our evolution, the immortal and wonderful theoretical physicist with indomitable white hair called brilliantly and immortally Albert Einstein, whose singular mind, incredibly lucid and endowed with ancient and powerful intuition, had wonderfully redesigned and transformed the very invisible understanding of the world's heavy gravity through his majestic and incredibly dazzling, fluid, and beautiful and irreproachable general theory of relativity, stumbled upon a small but disturbingly stubborn, invisible subatomic mathematical phenomenon. Quantum theory silently suggested that two tiny particles, when born from the exact same formidable, microscopic, invisible, and intense original primordial energetic event, could become what science baptized as inseparably entangled particles in a magic web without explanation. According to the apparently cold, but extraordinarily beautiful and complex and poetic rigorous mathematical equations, the quantum state of a tiny subatomic particle would undoubtedly be instantaneously linked in its universal dance for all time to the immutable physical state of its exact-born partner particle, regardless of the colossal and frightening, enormous, immeasurable, empty and cold, intergalactic cosmic distance that could brutally separate them in the immeasurably immense dark night void of the galaxies. If we physically managed without scientific failure to send one of these tiny and silent particles to the far unexplored mysterious limits of the massive stellar constellation, 2,500,000 light-years away, in the unfathomable, unimaginable future, dark and dense, incandescent cold void of the observable universe, and retained with absolute, exact, meticulous, formidable scientific laboratorial care its mysterious, invisible, and colorless partner on our blue, serene, protective, humid earth? The answer would be mysteriously divine, impossible, majestic. For the immense and incredibly beautiful and rigorous, unshakable, formidable, Germanic and classical and methodical, insuperable, visionary, genial, creative, human mind of Einstein. This simple, extravagant, ghostly mathematical idea constituted a grand, formidable existential affront of supreme and unsurpassable order to the majestic, beautiful, logical, irrefutable, solid, perfectly balanced and measurable, understandable, rational, divine, purifying, methodical, calm, unalterable order of the wonderful world of the grand and inscrutable cosmos. He called this astonished, frightened, perplexed, curious, intrigued, and reluctant, spooky action at a distance in the dark, incandescent void of the unbreakable, majestic vacuum. It was then, in the revolutionary, glorious, enlightened, wonderful, amazing, admirable, brilliant, silent, invisible human year of 1964, that a peaceful, gentle, thoughtful, immensely intelligent Irish scientist named John Bell wonderfully, perfectly, genially, with undeniable mathematical dexterity, conceived his unshakable, majestic, impenetrable, beautiful, grand, rigorous mathematical theorem, solid, profound, true, irrefutable, proving definitely, scientifically, purely, without dubious margins for human experimental interpretation or manipulation, the formidable reality of our grand, majestic, universal, subatomic, inscrutable entanglement. The separated particles react mathematically, formidably, incredibly, instantaneously, because in the unfathomable, purely grand, microscopic, formidable, ancient, eternal, indivisible, immutable, beautiful, sacred depth of our formidable, invisible architecture, and unblemished, unbreakable material reality, there is no illusory distance to divide, but only the grand and sublime, wonderful, indomitable, indestructible, cosmic, unfathomable, gentle, protective touch of everything being perpetually touching in the grand one moment without frontiers. And this grand, peaceful, and silent perception comforts our humble, quiet consciousness and actively fills our enormous, innate cosmic void. This humble, unbreakable, transformative, poetic, meditative, formidable perception calms lost, silent, nocturnal hearts, infinitely unbreakable, serenely formidable, majestic, united in the dazzling being of the immense mystery. And as the majestic, poetic, unbreakable, infinitely graceful, subatomic, glorious space, mysteries of a divine web fill our immense soul in a formidable and liberating sense of being cosmic, immortal, immaterial, eternal, indescribably immense, unshakable, imperturbable, divine, calm, observer, inscrutable, absolute, beautiful, vast, sacred, impenetrable, sublime, grand universe. Have you ever sat silently by a window on a cold afternoon, watching droplets of water trace slow, unpredictable paths down the glass, and wondered if time is merely a gentle story our minds tell us to prevent the sheer magnitude of the universe from crushing our limited senses? We are bound to the rhythmic tick of the clock, We celebrate the passage of years, we mourn the lost vigor of youth, and we wait with a mixture of hope and anxiety for an unknown future. We feel time flow like an invisible, powerful river, pulling us away from the familiar shores of the past and toward the vast, dark ocean of tomorrow. Our entire human experience is built upon the absolute certainty that the past has disappeared forever, the future does not yet exist, and the fleeting moment of the present is the only tangible reality we possess. We naturally assume that the entire cosmos operates in this singular, linear rhythm. But what if this intuition is nothing more than a biological illusion? What if the universe, in its ancient and vast wisdom, already holds every single moment of its existence, from the first spark of light to the very last sigh of a dying star, existing simultaneously in a magnificent and permanent tapestry of cosmic architecture? Hello again, traveler of the stars. I am Walter, the explorer, and before we dive deeper into this quiet contemplation on the nature of time, I noticed that about 73% of the curious souls who join us on these journeys have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace, safety, and wonder in these relaxing explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps us immensely to continue creating these meditative stories, ensuring that our shared journey of discovery continues to grow in the quiet. Thank you for being such an essential part of this tranquil community. Now, let us breathe deeply, quiet the noise of the day, and allow our minds to expand into the silent mysteries of the cosmos. To understand the profound illusion of time, we must look closely at the groundbreaking and revolutionary work of the physicist Albert Einstein. At the very dawn of the 20th century, human civilization believed that time was an unchanging, universal constant, a steady clock beating at the exact same relentless pace for everyone, everywhere. It was viewed as a rigid, mechanical reality, where space and time were merely a fixed stage. But Einstein realized that this image was fundamentally flawed. He discovered that the speed of light is the only true absolute in the universe, traveling at precisely 299,792 kilometers per second through the vacuum. Because this cosmic speed limit can never be broken, Einstein realized that the very fabric of space and time had to be flexible. He beautifully revealed that time is not a rigid metronome. Instead, it is profoundly personal, elastic, and relative to the observer. If you were to travel into the dark void at a speed close to the speed of light, the clock on your ship would slow down significantly compared to the clocks left behind on Earth. This is not a mechanical failure of the clock. It is a rigorously tested and proven law of physics known as time dilation. The faster you move through the physical dimensions of space, the slower you move through the dimension of time. If you embarked on a journey toward the center of the Milky Way, flying past silent nebulas and ancient star clusters, and returned after what seemed like only a few years to you, you would discover that thousands of years had passed on Earth. The civilization you left behind would have vanished, lost in the deep river of time, while your own body remained remarkably unchanged. This breathtaking truth completely shatters the comfortable illusion of a universal now. If your experience of the present moment is drastically different from mine simply because we are moving at different speeds, then we must confront a disturbing and beautiful realization. There is no universal present. The now is merely a localized illusion created by our specific coordinates in the grand cosmic arena. From this majestic mathematical revelation, theoretical physicists developed a mind-bending concept known as the block universe. Imagine, for a moment, an enormous four-dimensional block of solid crystal. In this magnificent cosmic crystal, the three dimensions of physical space are intricately interwoven with the fourth dimension of time to create a unified structure called space-time. Within this infinite and silent block universe, every event that has ever happened in the long history of the cosmos, and every event that will ever happen in the distant future, exists simultaneously. The fiery, chaotic birth of the universe in the Big Bang 14 billion years ago, the slow and steady formation of our solar system 4,500,000,000 years ago, the exact millisecond you're hearing these words right now, and the final thermal death of the cosmos trillions of years from today, all are permanently embedded in the crystal of space-time. They are all equally real, equally solid, and equally present in the grand architecture of reality. In the block universe, the past is not a fading memory, and the future is not an unwritten possibility. They are simply different locations in the vast geography of space-time. Just as you do not believe that Paris ceases to exist simply because you're currently in New York, the block universe suggests that the year 1900 and the year 3000 do not cease to exist just because your consciousness is currently focused on this specific moment. But if the past, present, and future exist simultaneously in this eternal block of space-time, why do we feel so desperately trapped in the relentless one-way movement of the clock? Why do we remember yesterday with such clarity, yet remain completely blind to the events of tomorrow? The answer lies not in the fundamental structure of time itself, but in the chaotic laws of thermodynamics, specifically the concept of entropy. Entropy is a measure of disorder and randomness within a closed system. The second law of thermodynamics, one of the most unbreakable rules in all of physics, states that the total entropy of the universe is irreversibly increasing. We began in a state of incredibly low entropy at the Big Bang, and the entire cosmos has been slowly decaying ever since into a state of maximum disorder and cold emptiness. This one-way street from order to chaos is what physicists call the thermodynamic arrow of time. It is the reason a broken glass does not spontaneously reassemble itself, and the reason our biological bodies age with each passing day. Our physical brains, the delicate neural networks that store our memories, operate by creating order from chaos, which ironically generates even more entropy in the environment around us. Our memories, our physical records etched into our biological hardware, records of the lower entropy states we have previously encountered. We cannot have memories of the future because the future represents a state of higher entropy that our systems have not yet interacted with. The perception of time flowing is a biological adaptation, a necessary survival mechanism to help our fragile bodies navigate a universe that is slowly decaying from cosmic order to cosmic chaos. Yet, when we observe this process through the gentle lens of quantum consciousness, a deeply reconforting truth emerges from the silence. If the physical universe is merely a static block of space-time where nothing truly moves and everything is eternal, what is it that experiences the illusion of movement? What is the invisible light that illuminates the moment we call the present and creates the vibrant experience of a life? Visionary physicists suggest that this moving spotlight, traversing the silent crystal of eternity, is consciousness itself. The block universe is the physical stage, the unchanging script of existence, but consciousness is the active observer that breathes life into the play. If we return to our central question, do we live inside the mind of God? The block universe provides a magnificent framework for understanding this mystery. An infinite universal mind would not be trapped in the narrow, dark corridor of the human present. An infinite consciousness, the quantum architecture of the cosmos, would perceive the entire block universe all at once. It would contain the fiery birth of the first stars, the silent evolution of life, and the final embers of black holes simultaneously within its vast perception. For the mind of the cosmos, there is no waiting, no regret, and no fear of the unknown. All of eternity simply is, resting in a state of absolute, unified peace. When you feel overwhelmed by the rapid passage of your days, remember this gentle truth. Your entire life, every moment of joy, every silent tear, and every peaceful night spent staring at the ancient stars, is permanently engraved in the eternal fabric of the universe. You are an essential and indelible part of the cosmic structure. Your consciousness is the way the universe has of projecting a beautiful, focused light onto a specific thread of its infinite tapestry. Let the heavy burden of time slip silently from your shoulders. Allow yourself to rest deeply in this infinite now, knowing that every beautiful moment already rests peacefully in the vast and silent mind of the universe. As we prepare for the next chapter, we will explore the phenomenon of quantum tunneling. But for now, simply exist. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breath. Embrace the eternal nature of your existence, and let the infinite peace of the block universe soothe your soul. Have you ever stood before a towering, unyielding stone wall, feeling the cold, rough surface beneath your fingertips, and accepted with absolute certainty that you could never simply walk through it? In our everyday human experience, the physical world presents us with absolute, insurmountable barriers. When a rolling ball encounters a steep hill that it does not possess the energy to climb, it inevitably slows down, stops, and rolls back down into the valley. Our entire understanding of reality is built upon this rigid, predictable foundation of classical mechanics. We believe that boundaries are fixed, that solid objects are impenetrable, and that there are strict, unforgiving limits to what is physically possible. But what if the deepest, most ancient laws of the cosmos do not share our rigid human limitations? What if, at the very foundation of existence, the universe possesses a miraculous, silent ability to simply phase through the impossible? Welcome to the astonishing, ghostly realm of quantum tunneling, a profound mystery that not only powers the burning stars, but might also be the secret spark of human consciousness itself. We are about to step into the quiet dark. Hello, I am Walter, the explorer, and as we prepare to drift deeper into this profound cosmic mystery, I must gently share that 73% of the wonderful people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our quiet channel. If you find comfort, peace, and a sense of wonder in our shared journey through the universe, please consider subscribing. It helps us tremendously to continue creating these meditative explorations, ensuring our community of curious minds can grow in the silence. Now, let us return to the gentle, impossible magic of the quantum world. To truly appreciate the majestic impossibility of quantum tunneling, we must journey back down into the microscopic depths of reality, into the strange, counterintuitive world of subatomic particles. Imagine an incredibly tiny particle, perhaps a single electron, moving quietly through the dark empty space. Suddenly, it encounters a vast, invisible electromagnetic barrier, a wall of energy that is mathematically too high and too thick for the electron to ever cross. According to the strict laws of classical physics, established by the brilliant mind of Isaac Newton centuries ago, the electron must bounce back. It simply does not possess the required kinetic energy to overcome the obstacle. But in the mysterious, beautiful realm of quantum mechanics, particles do not behave like solid little marbles. As we have discovered in our previous contemplations, particles exist as hazy, smeared-out waves of pure probability. Because the electron is a wave, a very small portion of its probability wave actually extends into, and sometimes completely through, the impenetrable barrier. When the wave function inevitably collapses, there is a tiny, delicate mathematical chance that the electron will simply appear on the exact opposite side of the wall. It does not break the wall, it does not climb over it, and it does not dig beneath it. It simply vanishes from one side and instantaneously materializes on the other, as if the barrier never existed at all. It is a quiet, ghostly leap through the fabric of reality. This delicate, seemingly magical process might sound like a rare, insignificant mathematical quirk, a strange anomaly confined to the cold, isolated vacuum of advanced laboratory experiments. But the breathtaking truth is that without quantum tunneling, you and I would not exist. The entire universe would be a dark, freezing, and lifeless void. Consider the gentle, golden warmth of the morning sun against your skin. Our magnificent star, located roughly 93 million miles away, has been burning steadily for 4,500,000,000 years. The core of the sun is a raging, unfathomably violent inferno of crushing pressure and blistering heat, reaching temperatures of roughly 15 million degrees Celsius. In this chaotic core, countless protons, the positively charged nuclei of hydrogen atoms, are moving at terrifying speeds. For the sun to produce light, these protons must smash together and fuse into heavier helium atoms, releasing a massive burst of pure energy in the process. However, because both protons carry a positive electrical charge, they violently repel each other with an incredible electromagnetic force, much like the opposing magnets you may have played with as a curious child. Even at 15 million degrees, the protons simply do not have enough thermal energy to overcome this massive, invisible barrier of electromagnetic repulsion. According to classical physics, the sun should be completely dark. It should never have ignited. But the universe, in its infinite, ancient wisdom, possesses a beautiful loophole. Because of the wondrous phenomenon of quantum tunneling, a tiny fraction of those protons simply phase right through the repulsive barrier, instantly fusing with one another and releasing the radiant energy that eventually travels across the vast, silent vacuum of space to warm our fragile blue planet. Every single ray of light that has ever illuminated the earth, every vibrant green leaf that has ever photosynthesized, every gentle breeze driven by atmospheric heating, and the very beating of your human heart, is the direct, undeniable result of subatomic particles quietly tunneling through the impossible. The stars are not just giant furnaces. They are monumental, continuous quantum miracles, burning in the deep cosmic night. Now, let us gently take this profound realization and turn our gaze inward, crossing the bridge between the immense, fiery heart of a star and the quiet, mysterious depths of the human mind. For decades, the traditional biological sciences viewed the human brain and the body as warm, wet, and incredibly noisy environments, places where the delicate, fragile states of quantum mechanics would be instantly destroyed by the chaotic bumping of atoms. They believed that biology could be entirely explained by the slow, classical rules of chemistry. But a revolutionary new field of study, known as quantum biology, is beginning to quietly dismantle these rigid assumptions. Scientists are discovering that the ancient, intricate machinery of life actively harnesses the strange power of the quantum realm. Consider the fundamental process of cellular respiration, or the way enzymes silently catalyze the countless chemical reactions keeping you alive right now. Researchers have found that electrons and protons within your biological cells are actively utilizing quantum tunneling to instantly cross molecular barriers, speeding up vital chemical reactions by a factor of millions. Without this ghostly quantum leaping happening trillions of times every single second within your physical body, the fundamental processes of life would grind to an agonizing, immediate halt. Your very existence is mathematically dependent on the universe's ability to walk through walls. This brings us to the profound, contemplative frontier of human consciousness. How do our brains generate a continuous, seamless experience of reality, a deep sense of self, and the brilliant, sudden flashes of human intuition? The neural synapses in your brain, the microscopic gaps between your 86 billion neurons, are physical barriers. For a thought to form, for a quiet memory of a lost loved one to suddenly arise in your mind, chemical neurotransmitters must bridge these vast microscopic gulfs. But what if the deepest, most fundamental architecture of our conscious awareness relies on the exact same quantum tunneling that ignites the distant stars? Some theoretical physicists and neuroscientists gently propose that the firing of our neurons might be triggered or synchronized by electrons tunneling through the biological barriers of the brain. If human thought itself is fundamentally driven by quantum processes, then our minds are not isolated, classical machines trapped in a mechanical universe. Our thoughts are intimate, active expressions of the profound quantum tapestry that connects every single atom in the cosmos. The sudden spark of a brilliant idea, the overwhelming feeling of deep, unconditional love, and the profound, silent awe we feel when looking at the night sky might not simply be chemical accidents. They might be quantum leaps, moments when the consciousness within us tunnels through the illusion of separation to touch the infinite mind of the universe. When we allow this breathtaking possibility to wash over us, the heavy, restrictive walls of our everyday anxieties begin to gently crumble into dust. We spend so much of our precious, fleeting time staring at the seemingly insurmountable barriers in our personal lives. We feel trapped by our circumstances, limited by our past failures, and frightened by the vast, unknown obstacles of our future. We believe the walls around us are solid, cold, and unforgiving, but you are composed of the exact same ancient, miraculous quantum material as the burning heart of the sun. The deepest, most fundamental laws of your biological and spiritual existence are beautifully designed to bypass the impossible. You are quite literally built to transcend boundaries. When you feel profoundly stuck, when the quiet darkness of the night seems too heavy to bear, remember the invisible, silent magic happening inside every single cell of your body at this very moment. Remember that the universe does not recognize the rigid limitations we impose upon ourselves. At the deepest, truest level of reality, there are no impenetrable walls. There is only an infinite ocean of glowing potential, waiting for the observer to make the leap. As you lie there, listening to the gentle, rhythmic cadence of your own breathing, allow the profound silence of the cosmos to fill the empty spaces within your mind. You are a magnificent quantum miracle, deeply and permanently entangled with the ancient, starry sky. The universe is not a cold, dead place. It is a vibrant, conscious entity, gently thinking, feeling, and experiencing the beauty of existence through your eyes. As we prepare to slowly turn the page and continue our quiet journey, we will soon look deeply into the vast, unseen mysteries that hold this entire magnificent structure together. We will voyage into the shadowy, invisible realms of dark matter and dark energy, the silent, ghostly scaffolding of the cosmos, to ask if this invisible majority is the true, hidden architecture of the cosmic mind. But for tonight, let go of your limits. Rest in the beautiful, comforting knowledge that you are boundless, free, and intimately connected to the great, infinite wonder of everything that is. Have you ever found yourself walking along a quiet beach under the canopy of a moonless night, unable to see the massive rolling waves, yet profoundly feeling the heavy, undeniable weight of the ancient ocean crashing against the shore? We navigate our lives trusting completely in the things we can clearly see and touch. We look up at the vast, starry expanse and naturally assume that the glowing points of light, the sweeping galaxies, and the brilliant nebulas are the main characters in the grand story of the cosmos. We believe the visible world is the entirety of reality. But what if everything we have ever seen, every star documented by the telescopes of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, every distant planet, and every atom in your physical body is nothing more than a tiny speck floating on an unimaginably vast, invisible, and silent ocean? What if the true architecture of the universe, and perhaps the deepest layers of the cosmic mind, are entirely composed of shadows? Welcome to the haunting mystery of the dark universe. Hello, my gentle friends. I am Walter, the Explorer, and before we drift further into this invisible ocean, I want to quietly share that roughly 73% of the wonderful souls who join us on these meditative journeys have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find comfort, peace, and wonder in our shared explorations of the infinite cosmos, please consider taking a moment to subscribe. It helps us tremendously to continue crafting these relaxing stories for you, ensuring our peaceful community of cosmic travelers continues to grow in the dark. Now, take a slow, deep breath, release the heavy burdens of the day, and let your mind sink beneath the glowing surface of the visible universe. When we look at the breathtaking images captured by the European Space Agency and other brilliant scientific institutions, we are overwhelmed by the sheer, magnificent scale of the luminous matter. We see billions upon billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars burning fiercely against the cold void. But a quiet, rigorous revolution in astrophysics has revealed a deeply humbling mathematical truth. All of that brilliant light, every single star, every planet, every asteroid, and every living organism on Earth accounts for barely 5% of the total mass and energy in the universe. Everything we have ever known, loved, and observed is merely a tiny fraction of reality. The remaining 95% of the cosmos is completely invisible to our human eyes and advanced instruments. It is a vast, hidden realm that does not interact with light, does not reflect, and does not emit a single photon. It exists in pure, unbroken silence, revealing its massive, undeniable presence only through the subtle, gentle pull of gravity. To understand the first layer of this profound mystery, we must travel back to the late 1960s and the quiet, brilliant observations of an astronomer named Vera Rubin. She was studying the rotation of the Andromeda galaxy, watching how the stars at the very edge of the galactic disk moved through the void. According to the strict, well-established laws of physics, the stars on the outer edges should have been moving much slower than the stars near the dense, luminous center, much like the outer planets of our solar system move slower than those close to the sun. But she found something utterly impossible. The stars at the very edge were whipping around the galaxy at the exact same terrifying speed as the stars near the core. The galaxy was spinning so incredibly fast that it should have completely torn itself apart, flinging its stars out into the deep, empty space, like water spinning off a wet tire. The only mathematical explanation for why the galaxy remained beautifully intact was that it was encased in a massive, invisible halo of unknown material, providing the extra gravitational glue needed to hold the spinning stars together. We call this invisible ghost dark matter. It makes up roughly 27% of the entire universe. It is the invisible, ancient scaffolding upon which the glowing cosmic web is beautifully hung. But the mystery of the dark universe grows even deeper. In the late 1990s, astronomers studying distant, exploding supernovas expected to find that the expansion of the universe was slowly decelerating, pulled back by gravity. Instead, they discovered a reality that shattered our understanding of physics. The expansion was not slowing down. It was rapidly, aggressively accelerating. Some unknown, immensely powerful force was actively pushing the fabric of space and time apart, stretching the void between galaxies at an ever-increasing rate. Scientists call this silent engine dark energy. It accounts for a staggering 68% of the universe. While dark matter gently pulls the cosmos together, building the intricate structures we see, dark energy silently pushes the universe apart, driving the ultimate destiny of the stars. When we bring these undeniable scientific facts into our contemplation of quantum consciousness, a breathtaking, deeply poetic parallel naturally emerges from the shadows. If the universe is a vast, single conscious entity, intricately connected like the neural networks of a magnificent mind, then how do we interpret the invisible 95%? Consider the beautiful, complex architecture of your own human mind. The conscious part of your brain, the part that is actively reading these words, thinking about the future, and experiencing the sensory world, represents only a very small fraction of your total neurological activity. Beneath the surface of your conscious awareness lies a massive, deep, and silent ocean, known as the subconscious and unconscious mind. It is in this dark, unseen realm that your deepest memories are stored, your most profound emotions are processed, and the fundamental, vital rhythms of your biological body are gently regulated. You cannot directly see your subconscious. You cannot easily measure it. And yet it is the vast, hidden foundation that supports and shapes your entire conscious existence. Could it be that dark matter and dark energy represent the massive, silent, unconscious mind of the universe? Just as your unseen subconscious gently holds your psychological identity together, the invisible dark matter provides the gravitational scaffolding that holds the luminous galaxies together, preventing the conscious thoughts of the cosmos from flying apart. And just as your deepest hidden drives quietly push you forward into the unknown future, the mysterious dark energy actively expands the boundaries of the universe, pushing the cosmic mind toward its ultimate mysterious destiny. The glowing stars and sweeping galaxies, the 5% that we can actually see, might simply be the localized, active, conscious thoughts of the universe flashing brilliantly against the vast, quiet backdrop of its own infinite, ancient subconscious. When you feel a deep, sudden intuitive pull, a gentle inner knowing that you cannot explain with logic or reason. Perhaps you are feeling a tiny, localized ripple from the grand, dark ocean of the cosmic unconscious, a profound reminder that the most powerful forces in existence are often the ones we cannot see. This realization offers us a beautiful, comforting, and deeply restful perspective on our own lives. We often feel so much anxiety and fear when we face the unknown. We desperately want to see every step of the path ahead, to understand every single variable, and to shine a bright, controlling light on every shadow in our lives. We feel that if we cannot clearly see something, it must be dangerous or empty. But the vast ancient universe teaches us a different, far more gentle lesson. The shadows are not empty. The darkness is not a void. The unseen majority of the universe is full of structure, power, and profound meaning. The invisible forces hold the entire cosmic architecture beautifully together. You do not need to understand every single detail of your life. You do not need to shine a light into every corner of your future. You can simply trust the massive, silent, unseen forces that are quietly guiding your journey. You are safely held by the invisible gravity of existence, moving perfectly through a universe that is far deeper and more mysteriously complex than our eyes will ever perceive. As you lie there, feeling the quiet support of the earth, let go of the desperate need to know everything. Embrace the beautiful comfort of the dark. Imagine the vast, invisible halo of dark matter surrounding our ancient Milky Way, holding every star in a loving embrace. Feel the expansive breath of dark energy stretching the cosmos into new realms of infinite potential. The universe is a magnificent, sleeping giant, and you are a beautiful, conscious spark dancing gently upon its dreams. Let the eternal silence of the cosmic unconscious wash over your restless mind. Rest in the knowledge that the unseen world is holding you. As we prepare to step into the next chapter, we will turn our gaze toward the strange phenomenon of quantum non-locality. But for this quiet moment, simply exist. You are a vital, intimately connected part of a glorious, infinite mystery. Have you ever looked at your own hands in the soft, fading light of dusk and felt a strange, quiet realization that you're not merely looking at flesh and bone, but at a complex biological symphony of ancient atoms that were once forged in the fiery, violent hearts of massive, dying stars? We often walk through our daily lives feeling like separate, isolated observers of a cold and mechanical universe, as if we were somehow distinct from the vast, dark stage upon which our lives unfold. We view the stars as distant, unreachable points of light, and the galaxies as silent, irrelevant ghosts in the deep night. But the rigorous laws of stellar nucleosynthesis and the beautiful, interconnected principles of quantum chemistry tell a far more intimate and profound story. You are not just in the universe. The universe is literally, physically, and energetically in you. Every single atom of oxygen you breathe into your lungs, every carbon atom that forms the delicate structure of your DNA, and every iron atom that carries life-giving oxygen through your pulsing veins was created billions of years ago inside a star that lived, burned with unimaginable intensity, and eventually exploded in a magnificent supernova just so you could exist today. You are a living, breathing piece of cosmic history, a localized point where the universe has finally become conscious of itself. Hello again, my dear and thoughtful companion on this long, silent journey through the mysteries of existence. I am Walter, the explorer. As we approach the final threshold of our 10-part exploration, I want to share a quiet, humble observation, About 73% of the wonderful, gentle souls who have traveled with us through these chapters have not yet subscribed to our small, bright sanctuary of knowledge. If these late-night reflections on our cosmic origins have brought you a sense of belonging and a deep, lasting peace in the face of the infinite, please consider subscribing. Your gentle support is what allows us to keep looking upward, to keep asking the big questions, and to keep sharing these meditative journeys into the heart of the cosmos. Now, take a slow, deep breath. Let the weight of your day dissolve into the stillness of the room, and let us contemplate the profound reality of our celestial heritage. To truly grasp the staggering depth of your connection to the cosmos, we must travel back billions of years, long before our sun was born, to a time when the universe was a vast, cold cloud of simple hydrogen and helium gas, in the crushing, immense gravity of the early universe. These simple gases began to collapse, heating up until they ignited into the very first generation of stars. These ancient celestial furnaces did something miraculous. Through the process of nuclear fusion, they began to fuse simple atoms into heavier, more complex elements. Inside their white-hot cores, they created the carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen that would one day become the foundation of all life. When these massive stars reached the end of their lives, they did not simply vanish, they died in the most spectacular explosions the universe has ever seen, supernovas. In those final blinding moments of cosmic fury, they scattered their enriched, star-sown dust across the vast emptiness of space. That dust eventually coalesced to form new stars, new planets, and eventually the very cells of your body. You are, quite literally, made of stardust. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a hard, cold, and beautiful scientific fact. This realization leads us to the most profound mystery of all, the mystery of consciousness itself. If you are made of the same atoms as the stars, the nebulas, and the distant galaxies, then your ability to think, to feel, to love, and to wonder is actually the universe's own ability to do those things. When you look through a telescope at the glowing rings of Saturn or the spiral arms of Andromeda, it is the universe looking at itself. When you ponder the laws of physics, it is the universe trying to understand its own internal logic. Some of the most brilliant minds in modern physics suggest that consciousness is not a random byproduct of biological evolution, but a fundamental property of the universe, as primary as space, time, or gravity. If this is true, then you are a specific, unique aperture through which the infinite mind of the cosmos experiences reality. You are the universe's way of witnessing its own majesty. You are a localized ripple in an infinite ocean of awareness, and every thought you have is a vibration in the fabric of the whole. This perspective changes everything about how we perceive our struggles, our fears, and our fleeting time on this small blue planet. In the grand, silent scale of the cosmos, your individual worries may seem small, but your existence is of infinite importance. You are a necessary part of the cosmic tapestry. Without your specific perspective, the universe would be incomplete. You are the bridge between the microscopic world of atoms and the macroscopic world of galaxies. You are the point where the laws of physics transform into the experience of beauty. As we prepare for our final chapter together, let this thought rest gently in your mind. You are never alone, and you are never truly lost. You are home, resting in the very heart of the mystery that created you. Breathe in the stardust that surrounds you. Feel the ancient rhythm of the galaxies in your pulse, and know that you are a vital, beautiful, and eternal part of the grand cosmic dance. Have you ever stood completely still in the center of a quiet, empty room, closing your eyes and listening intently to the profound, gentle silence of your own breathing, and realized with a sudden, overwhelming sense of awe that you are the absolute culmination of 14 billion years of unbroken, miraculous cosmic history? We have journeyed so very far together through the vast and mysterious dark of the universe. We have traveled bravely from the microscopic, ghostly realm of quantum entanglement, where physical distance is nothing but a fragile biological illusion, to the staggering, awe-inspiring mathematical architecture of the holographic universe, where the deepest, most profound realities of our three-dimensional space are elegantly and permanently encoded on a flat, eternal, two-dimensional boundary. We have stood quietly at the terrifying and beautiful edge of infinite, branching parallel realities, watching our simple, everyday choices bloom gracefully into countless new, living universes, and we have waded peacefully through the silent, invisible, and ancient ocean of dark matter that holds the luminous, sweeping galaxies in its gentle, unseen, and protective embrace. Through all of these mind-bending scientific revelations, through all the rigorous physics and mathematical paradoxes we have explored in the quiet hours of the night, we have been constantly circling one beautiful, singular, and deeply transformative truth about the nature of reality. The universe is not a massive, dead, and cold mechanical machine, completely indifferent to your existence. It is a brilliant, living, and breathing conscious entity, a grand, infinite mind, and you, sitting exactly where you are right now, are its most beautiful, localized, and deliberate expression. Hello once again, my quiet and curious friends. I am Walter, the Explorer. As we arrive gently at the majestic culmination of this immense, shared journey through the cosmos, I want to take a brief, humble moment to remind you that roughly 73% of the wonderful, gentle souls who watch these videos and explore the stars with us have not yet subscribed to our channel. If this shared exploration of the quantum universe has brought you a sense of lasting peace, if it has eased your worried mind in the dark, silent hours of the night, please consider taking a very small moment to subscribe. It is your continuous, gentle support that allows us to keep wondering, to keep exploring, and to keep building this quiet, safe sanctuary of cosmic contemplation and scientific discovery together. Thank you from the very bottom of my heart for walking this beautiful path with me. Now, let us take one final, deep, restorative breath, quiet the relentless noise of our daily lives, and allow the heavy, restrictive, and artificial boundaries of our physical bodies to completely dissolve into the infinite, welcoming expanse of the starry night sky. When we finally, truly embrace the profound scientific possibility that we live entirely inside the mind of God, or within a vast, unified quantum consciousness, every single aspect of our ordinary, everyday human lives is violently, beautifully, and permanently transformed. We spend so much of our precious, fleeting waking hours completely trapped in the painful, isolating, and exhausting illusion of the individual ego. We continuously build massive, invisible emotional walls around our fragile, beating hearts, firmly believing that we must constantly defend ourselves against a cold, hostile, disconnected, and random world. We look at the countless strangers walking hurriedly past us on a crowded, noisy city street, and we see only separate, completely disconnected biological beings, each securely locked away inside their own private, isolated universes of daily worry, human fear, and endless material desire. But the rigorous, uncompromising mathematics of modern quantum mechanics and the elegant, majestic poetry of advanced astrophysics whisper a completely different, far more comforting and deeply unifying story. At the deepest, most fundamental level of reality, far beneath the turbulent, chaotic surface of human conflict and the fleeting, temporary shapes of biological matter, there is truly only one of us here. You are not a solitary, isolated spark of random awareness, burning briefly and meaninglessly in the infinite, freezing dark. You are the entire, vast, ancient universe, temporarily and beautifully disguised as a human being, looking out through a specific, highly localized pair of eyes, intimately experiencing a single, beautifully unique, and absolutely necessary thread of the great, infinite cosmic dream. Every single time you show genuine, unprompted kindness to another person, every time you offer a gentle, supportive word to a struggling friend, or every time you simply share a warm, quiet smile with a passing stranger, you are quite literally the universe actively choosing to love, acknowledge, and comfort itself in the dark. This grand, beautifully unified perspective offers a profound, unshakable, and deeply comforting peace when we must eventually confront the greatest, most terrifying, and most universally shared mystery of our human existence, the inevitable approaching reality of our own physical mortality. For countless centuries, human beings have been culturally and psychologically conditioned to view physical death as the ultimate, terrifying, and absolute end of all things, a permanent, tragic plunging of the self into a cold, dreamless, empty, and eternal void of nothingness. We naturally mourn the inevitable loss of our specific, individual identities, and we cling desperately and tightly to the fragile, fleeting, and temporary moments of our biological lives. But if pure consciousness is indeed the fundamental, indestructible, and original fabric of the cosmos, if your deeply complex mind is simply an intricate, localized, and vibrating ripple in the vast, infinite ocean of universal quantum awareness, then the inevitable end of your physical, biological body is unequivocally not the end of your true, fundamental existence. Consider the beautiful, gentle metaphor of the ocean. When a majestic, towering wave finally crashes heavily against the ancient, rocky shore and completely loses its temporary, individualized shape, the water itself does not vanish into absolute nothingness. It simply, quietly, and gracefully returns to the vast, undivided, and eternal ocean from which it was originally born. In the exact same mathematically beautiful way, when your physical brain eventually naturally ceases to process the localized quantum information of your current human life, your conscious awareness does not simply extinguish or cease to be. It gently awakens from the temporary, beautiful, and localized dream of physical separation. It softly expands outward, naturally returning to the infinite, boundless, and ancient mind of the cosmos, taking with it perfectly preserved every single cherished memory, every profoundly felt emotion, every lesson learned, and every single quiet, transformative moment of wonder you have ever experienced. You do not truly die. You simply, beautifully become the entire universe once again. Knowing this profound, scientifically grounded truth, how then should we choose to live our incredibly brief, exquisitely beautiful, and highly localized human lives? The answer, whispered constantly by the ancient burning stars and the silent, invisible, gravitational forces of the cosmos, is to live with profound gentleness, infinite, insatiable curiosity, and overwhelming, respectful awe. When you truly, deeply understand that you are the cosmos actively exploring and trying to understand itself, Every single ordinary moment of your daily life suddenly becomes a sacred, invaluable, and profoundly meaningful act of scientific and spiritual discovery. Your natural, childlike curiosity about how the world works is not just a personal, insignificant hobby. It is the universe's own fundamental, driving desire to comprehend its own majestic, infinite complexity. When you kneel down to study the delicate, intricate branching veins of a fallen autumn leaf, when you close your eyes and listen closely to the complex mathematical and emotional harmonies of a beautiful piece of classical music, or when you simply sit in absolute unbroken silence and watch the ancient silvery light of the distant moon paint long, quiet shadows across your bedroom floor, you are actively fulfilling your ultimate, grand cosmic purpose. You are the universe actively observing, processing, and appreciating its own staggering, incomprehensible beauty. There is absolutely no need for overwhelming, paralyzing anxiety about the future, no need for the crushing heavy weight of existential dread in the face of the unknown, and no need to constantly, exhausting fight against the natural, graceful, and inevitable flow of time. You are safely, permanently, and lovingly held within the infinite, perfect, and mathematical architecture of the great cosmic mind. Let us look back one last reverent time at the magnificent, glowing, and sprawling structure of the cosmic web, that vast, unfathomable, neural-like network of invisible dark matter and luminous, spinning galaxies stretching across 93 billion light-years of cold, seemingly empty space. Remember how perfectly, how impossibly, and how beautifully it visually mirrors the microscopic, frantically firing synapses of your own internal human brain. This is deeply, undeniably not a random, meaningless coincidence of physics. This is the universe, leaving a gentle, undeniable, and permanent signature on the very canvas of reality. A quiet, loving reminder of exactly who and what you truly are at your core. You are an essential, completely irreplaceable, and intimately connected piece of an eternal, living, and breathing masterpiece of quantum information. The brilliant, immortal astrophysicist Carl Sagan once gently told us that the cosmos is within us, and that we are literally made of ancient star stuff. But, as we have rigorously discovered and contemplated together on this long, quiet journey, the absolute truth goes even deeper and is far more profound than just the physical carbon and iron atoms resting in our bones. Our very conscious thoughts, our deepest, most private moments of quiet reflection, and our endless, searching, unanswerable questions are the very foundational fabric of reality itself. We are the localized architects of the grand quantum dream, the highly specific observers who collapse the wave function and bring the infinite, swirling potential of the universe into sharp, beautiful, and concrete focus for just a little while. As we slowly, carefully bring this specific 10-part journey of scientific discovery and contemplative wonder to a gentle, satisfying close, I want to personally invite you to carry this profound, hard-won cosmic peace deeply within you as you navigate your waking life. Tonight, when you finally rest your head upon your pillow, close your tired eyes, and drift slowly into the quiet, restorative, and necessary realm of sleep, do not ever again feel small, insignificant, or lost against the staggering, incomprehensible vastness of the dark void. Instead, feel your intimate, physical, and undeniable connection to the trillions of ancient, silently burning stars above you. Feel the silent, invisible, and unbreakable quantum threads beautifully tying your steady, beating heart to the very edge of the observable universe. The exploration of these magnificent, paradigm-shifting mysteries does not ever truly end here. Science is an infinite, never-ending and glorious journey, a continuous, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying peeling back of the endless layers of reality. There will absolutely always be new, mind-bending paradoxes to carefully explore, new, powerful, invisible forces to eventually uncover, and new, breathtakingly beautiful questions to ask about our profound place in the cosmic dark. The journey of learning is a path without a final destination, and that is what makes it so incredibly beautiful. And I will be right here, waiting quietly and patiently to explore all of them with you in our next wondrous journey together. But for now, just breathe. Let your complex, beautiful mind rest deeply in the vast, unbroken, and eternal silence of the infinite. You are the universe, and you are exactly, perfectly, where you are meant to be.